Blythe here, helping multi-passionate creatives take leaps of faith, and of course that includes my own, supported by my wonderful bullet journal and writing, creating. In this case, in July, it's the last day in July in real time, but in July I got to start a new seasonal Moleskine Kaye book, and I had a little set the mood with a postcard from the Marina Abramovich, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, exhibition at the Stedelijk Museum, which was something that we saw in June and led into July. My July reflection, I had some goals, some of which I fully met, some of which are still in progress. One of my largest accomplishments being completing the alphabet superset, which I also reflected on in a blog. I posted my Z micro choreo video, and yeah, learned a lot from that experience of creating 26 little videos, which I posted then to TikTok and on social media. Working on Camp NaNo this year, did some writing. I need to type it up, see how many words we got. Have been observing some birds, but haven't really. The weather's been stormy and then sunny and hot and then cool and sort of mixed. So haven't been outside a ton, but some when it's been nice, and observing, but not so much creating art outside yet. I've been participating in a way in One Book July, which is not just using one book, as we know. This is my main home base, but I do also use a little daily log journal, pocket journal, that has a cover on it, and I'm happy with that. So I'm not going to reduce, I'm happy with it. I'm not going to arbitrarily reduce down to one book for the month, but I think that's a great challenge for people who have really complicated planning and creating and whatever sort of systems that have built up to sort of simplify. But for me, I like this setup. I have my little linear calendar here, some of the major events, not everything that took place, but that's where I track sort of some moon cycles and my own moon cycle and major sort of goals and projects, getting ready for big events. And oh yeah, I was saying One Book July, I wanted to do a little recording of how I'm working on that. I'll do that next, but it's basically hosted by a few people on YouTube and on social media, including, what's her name, Romani? And it's to look into the gaps, because sometimes I do have like a page or a couple pages that I leave as a little buffer, and then I'm looking for ways to make sure I'm using all the pages in some way or another to support me. And yeah, one of the big events of this month being Cologne Christopher Street Day and celebrating Pride that way. Oh, hi, kitten. If we heard Rufio, she just shook her ears out and she's cleaning herself next to me as we record. So that was the plan for July. I had a little sort of summery oceanic theme in the origami papers and other sort of gift wraps and stamps and stationaries that I used. So here's some of the highlights in terms of the media, things I saw and heard and read and experienced. On the media side, on the right, read one really great book, and I read a couple of other good ones too. So I loved Age of Vice by Deepti Kapoor. It's very epic and violent and potentially triggering, but just so well written, such compelling characters. Another fiction read, Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. I love some summer fiction and some crime, sort of rom-com crime, light, cozy mystery type of things. And also some nonfiction, reading Someday Is Today. Still working on that one. Before we head out for the summer, we tell the story of Little Red Riding Hood, or Rotkäppchen in German, with my youngest students and sort of themes along that lines, share that little excerpt from the Cinderella ballet, or is it Sleeping Beauty? No, I can't remember. Anyway, that's one of my summer themes. And also sort of oceans and the beach and whatnot, which affected my music. I created or sort of a new playlist based on an old one. It's called Wave After Wave. It's all sea and watery type of things. My 2024 Summer Jams playlist is still evolving, but I'm having so much fun adding tracks to that really speak to this moment. And my Ballet-licious Summertime Dance playlist is also an old one that I'm updating this year to dance to. A couple of specific songs, one that inspired the playlist called Waves. Beyonce's Texas Hold'em is definitely one of the summer jams of the year, and then Pig Pony Club by Chapel Rowan, and everything of hers we are loving right now. Saw a couple of very different films, The Lobster and Dungeons and Dragons. My favorite series so far of the year called Poker Face, and another one called Boyfriend. We did watch the final of the Men's Soccer Cup, England versus Spain with friends, and the Olympic opening celebration from Paris, and that was such a spectacle. But my favorite spectacle in terms of viewing of the month was seeing Les Ballets Trocadero de Monte Carlo, or the Trocks, at the Cologne Philharmonie. Yeah, and I've always heard that they were great, and I've seen videos of their work, but it was amazing to see them live, and we wept from the humor, and the dancing was fantastic, and it was everything I'd hoped. So that was such a wonderful birthday gift that I got to receive late, extending my celebration, and definitely a highlight of the month and the year. As well as I mentioned some other highlights, such as finishing the Alphabet Superset. I mentioned again the events of Christopher Street Day, some work updates, some publishing and creative work that I did, including 4 videos, 2 blogs, and 4 emails, which brought me to a total of over 24. So I achieved over 24, bringing my list of 24s to 12. So I'm actually halfway there with that little sort of project about projects, very meta. Did lots of teaching of my own classes and substitute teaching, celebrated non-binary People's Day, and did some deep cleaning at home, some sort of really much needed maintenance amidst all of the other things that were going on. So it's been a great month in many ways, with good and bad news. So I often really focus on the highlights and favorites, but there is always sort of personal stuff going on in the background, and family things and whatnot. It's not all happy rosy all the time, but yeah, I share sort of deeper thoughts in some of my longer form journaling in the journal, and sort of frame my accomplishments in a way where negativity bias doesn't take hold, and I'm able to move forward with focusing on what's important to me. Yeah, so in the first week of July, like I said, I completed that Alphabet Superset and was working and arranging things for the coming school year and hanging out with friends and family. In the second week, I had a lot of fun social stuff too, some storming, some delicious homegrown cucumbers, time on the balcony with friends, in the park, outside. So when the weather wasn't storming, we were enjoying it. And yeah, watching good films, reading books, love summer reading. The third week in July was the week of both Christopher Street Day or Pride and seeing Les Ballets Trocadero, the Trocks, and also teaching, still wrapping up the end of the school year before summer break at one of my studios as other things wrapped up. Did lots of cleaning, had some dicey family health news, which hopefully will turn out well. And yeah, just a lot of ups and downs in the fourth week of July, but lots of positives too. Hanging out in our friend's garden, finishing that awesome book, Age of Ice. And that brings me to the close of July. continuing on, we'll just see. We'll be moving into August this week. Very excited for that. Hope you've enjoyed this little venture into July in my seasonal bullet journal. It was an action-packed month, and like I said, a lot of highs and lows, but accomplished some important things and did my best to be mindful and enjoy it as much as possible the summer that we do have. So wishing you also a wonderful summer in the Northern Hemisphere or winter in the Southern. And I'll be back again soon with more creativity, dancing, mindful movement, and yoga. Till then.